not going to anchor up.
Hello, this is Phil Lilley, Lilley's Landing Resort and Marina on Lake Taneycomo. Gonna do one cast today. It's Monday the 25th, I think. Sorry. 24th, sorry. Couldn't silence my phone. And I boated up here just above the resort. They're still running that half unit of water. Cloudy. A little bit of rain today. Just a little bit of current, not much. So I'm gonna fish a 50th ounce jig with an orange, Indy orange head, sculpin, 4-pound line, and a float a little less than 4 foot deep right now. Probably go deeper, but we'll just see if the fish are gonna hit it at 3.5 foot deep. There's hardly any wind at all. Okay. Little jig and float is what we call this. It does work better if there's a little chop on the water, but being cloudy like it is, shouldn't be too bad. Fish should be fairly close to the surface, although I haven't seen anything on the surface as far as midging or anything. That's why I said we might have to go a little deeper. Staying kind of on the inside of the middle. And because there's not hardly any chop, I'm gonna shake that float just a little bit every once in a while to give that jig some action. There is a little bit of wind. I can feel it. It's blowing at my back, so it's blowing me out towards the middle a little bit. So I'll have to make some adjustments. Nothing on the first cast. I am going to go a little deeper. When I cast the jig and float, if you noticed, I bring it all the way behind me, and I stick the jig behind me in the water so that when I flick it out there, it kind of holds the jig a little bit, and I'm able to get it out there a little bit further without really throwing it too hard. Kind of a slingshot effect. That really helps if you're using a spin cast and you're throwing something light. Like this is not a weighted float at all. you're able to throw it a little bit easier and a little further if you stick it in the water behind you to throw it. Ah, got stuck on my finger. And you don't want to throw it out too far where you can't see the float. You get a clear vision of it to where if you get a real small slight bite, you can see that float move. I guess it depends on your eyesight. Thinking. I'm not catching anything. I want to try something different, but I'm torn whether I'm going to fish that bank or that bank. Let's go to the shallow bank since I'm closer. some wood ducks in there. They haven't left for the winter yet. There's hardly any current over here on the inside. There is still some though. The other thing that you have to watch when you're throwing a jig and with a float is your slack in your line. I always keep my rod down, my rod tip. And I want to make sure I've picked up all that extra slack that I have in the line. Because when I set the hook, it's got to be pretty quick. And I can't have a lot of slack in it, or I'm not going to get a good hook set. Male and female wood duck. Okay. Sorry, I'm just impatient today. I'm gonna go fish the other bank. And to do that, I am gonna use the big motor to get over there. Usually this time of year we see a lot of fish that are midging. I've only seen a couple. But I guess for the fish to be midging, you gotta have a midge hatch, so. It would not be the fish's fault. Current's a little faster over here, a little bit. And there's gonna be some leaves to deal with, that's all right. Okay. I'm gonna set about 3.5. I shorten it up. I'll probably go a little deeper here in a minute if I don't get anything. I'd really like to Go up and fish this, where I fished the jig the other day from Fall Creek down. Ah. If I had a fly rod, I could get in there pretty close. Spins a little bit. There we go. A little different. About 6 feet now. Goes Blake. I'm surprised I ain't got any bite or something. Go outside these leaves real quick. Let's see. I'm gonna go really deep. About 8 feet. It's my last attempt. Water should be about 10 feet deep out here, so that's getting it pretty close to the bottom. Should have brought night crawlers. I think that's probably what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'd say this is almost a full unit because the water is moving pretty good up here down in front of the resort. So usually it's just barely crawling. So you could drift a night crawler on the bottom real easy. They do not want a jig today. Not for me. Well, hopefully learned a little bit on jig and float. Again, if there's a little chop on the water, that's the ideal time to use a jig and float. So thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.